Again, just a little bite, another bite, and it's on the big one. Just a little more, slowly and gently.
Hey everyone, big hello to all of you. Today Diamond and I specifically went out to the river to shoot an awesome video for you. By your requests, we're filming DIY projects for ice fishing. These will be new life hacks and DIY projects that we haven't shown before. And we hope you'll find it interesting. We want to surprise you with something. Let's go. What's the first thing you want to talk about? This of course is a homemade jig for ice fishing. Now I'm going to show you two types of jigs. The first jig is super simple and can be made in just 5 seconds, and the second one is a baitless jig that catches perch really well. Let's go! The simplest jig is made really easily. You take a hook and a weight in the shape of a pellet. We just take the little hook and right here near the shank we do a little bit. We squeeze it, but before we do that I recommend just bending it up a little with pliers so we don't break it, just like this. We bend it and this is the shape of the hook we end up with. It's slightly curved, and in this spot near the eye we just take it and thread the pellet through. A little bit. This is how we bend it. This is the shape of the hook we get. It is slightly bent, and we simply take it in this place near the eye. We thread the pellet through. That's it. Our jig is ready. We can go catch perch. The jig for perch is ready. You can hook on bloodworms, non-bait baits, some artificial baits and catch. If you want, you can paint this jig with varnish in any color. And you will have a full-fledged wonderful jig. You can make it green, red, or just leave it in the color we just made. That's it, guys. The simplest jig is ready in 5 seconds. But this is just the beginning. Now I'm going to tell you how to make a top-notch jig, so to speak, with artificial maggots. For this jig, we also take a hook, fishing line, or braided rope. I have 0.2 fishing line and red beads. That's all we need. First, we take the end of the fishing line and make a few good thick knots. We're just tying some knots here, guys. We all made such a spontaneous knot, guys. Now our fishing lines are over the edge. Our task is to thread some beads onto it, but we need to space them out so that they're about 1, 2, or 3 centimeters apart, like our large maggot. So we take the beads and start slowly threading them on. It's a bit awkward, since everything is thin, but we keep going. I'm getting old, you see, guys. I can't see without my glasses. And we slide it all the way down the line to our knot. As we can see, the knot holds our bead really well. It doesn't go any further. We threaded the beads onto the line and it looks like a maggot. And on the end, guys, we attached 2 black beads to make it look like the head of a maggot, you could say. Now our task is to carefully thread this bead onto the fishing line, one by one, onto our hook. And under the shank all of this goes. Just push it in further like this. First the black ones, then of course the red ones. We do all this carefully because beads do not go well with thick fishing line. We can get hurt and get caught instead of the perch. Guys, we're not threading everything on, just a little bit. We can see that we can put a couple more on the shank of the hook to make it look nice. So far I've threaded very few. Again, we loosen the line and thread a few more beads on. After we've threaded our beads onto the hook, we leave some space at the top near the eye to also thread a shot here. And we crimp all of this. And we crimp it. So here's our jig without the maggot. So guys, this is like a maggot. It will sway in the water and the perch will really go for it. So this is what the jig looks like. I hope you like it and that it brings you a lot of fish, because it really looks quite impressive and is also very easy to make.
Every angler has this problem. Where should you hide the jig after you've finished fishing? To avoid bending the tip or just damaging the handle of your ice fishing rod, for this we just need a cork and super glue and a knife. For this we need to cut off literally 1/2 centimeter from the wine cork. A little circle. Now we take it, flip the rod over, place it on, and check if everything lines up and is straight. Then we open our glue and drop some of it, which has turned into a gel in the cold. We're making a little snake like this. And we stick it onto our fishing rod. About like this. Or we can clamp it and leave it like that for a couple of minutes. Well, we've finished our fishing. We roll up the bobber as it should be. And now, to To avoid damaging the handle, we thread our jig into our cork. Well, as you can see, everything is holding up, everything is in its place. No one will prick themselves with anything. No one will get hurt. Nothing will get tangled up. And here, which is also a plus, you can attach spare jigs. Here, and suddenly there is a break. You can immediately bandage yourself.
Homemade stuff is great, but there are things that you really need to buy because it's practically impossible to make them. Friends, during this quarantine and pandemic period, we often rely on the internet. I recommend you using the e-catalog to choose products. How does it work? Now I'll show you how to quickly and easily choose a flashlight. Let's go to the e-catalog, where you can choose absolutely any product. We select the section we need, in this case, tourism and fishing. Let's choose flashlights. We do an advanced search, type headlamp. Let's take a look. There are a lot of products from different brands and in various price ranges. So let's say we choose the first one that comes up. We're looking, and the prices in different online stores vary from each other. With an early product, it's compared to some other one. For example, the flashlight, a well-known brand, is Phoenix. The price, of course, is higher, and it also varies between different online stores. With an early product, we have two items compared to each other. We see the specifications, how they differ, and how they are similar. Guys, and most importantly, we can see the reviews and the price. So it's very convenient to compare any products with each other. 2, 3, 4 products and more. I always use the e-catalog because it's very fast, simple, and convenient. Guys, the link to the e-catalog is in the description below this video. Go ahead, take a look. When we fish in a current, there is a very effective feeder. When you fill it with dry feed, it slowly starts to create a feeding spot due to the current. But this is for such inert fish that respond to inert bait. And those that swim in the water column, you can make such a feeder yourself from something like this. Here's a big Skinder egg. You can also make it from a small one, but from something this big. This will definitely be much more effective. A kinder egg, a screw, some sinkers, a lighter or an awl, fishing line, and just pliers. We need to make a lot of holes in our Kinder egg right now, guys, like this, so that our feed can wash out. Just a lighter. We take it, light it up, and heat our screw. We heated it up, and while it's still hot, we simply take it and make a hole. 1, 2. Well, about the same distance from each other. And we also make a couple of holes at the bottom here. We try to maintain some kind of proportion, guys, just for aesthetics. And that's how it turned out. We have 2 of these hemispheres. You could say with the holes that now we need to attach a sinker to one of them, guys. I recommend doing this inside. That way you'll never lose it, because it can just fall out from any of the hemispheres on the outside. But let's go with the big one. We simply tie it with fishing line, rope, wire, anything really. Here it is inside, we turn it over, and here we go, tying it up. It's a really great feeder. Guys, of course we're in a swamp right now, there's no current, but the fact is how it works. I'll show you now. We're pouring some feed in here, that is feed, dry bait, dry ground bait. Like this, well, we're filling up half of it. As you can see, it's already starting to slowly fall down through the gaps. Look, I'm shaking it. And it's falling down through the holes. And that's great. We are closing this whole little barrel, just like that. Whoa! We've got contact. The point is that there's dry bait, and when the current comes, the water flows in. And through these gaps, it just slowly washes out. It takes a long time to wash out. Here, I'm showing you again. If we shake it, everything falls out of there. This is how much bait we're taking. We simply submerge this feeder, and it doesn't sink down like that. We fill it with water. And it slowly goes away. Here she is. And it went to the bottom. Even if we just lower it to the bottom and make a few up and down touches, our bait will wash out from there. As you can see, the hole is already filling up with bait. It's a wonderful feeder that can even be used in still waters with a little bit of baiting. Then the water just drains away, and that's it. Again, we lower the bulbit and lift it up. And that's it. In this way, your bait will gradually be released in portions. Well, the fish will always smell it, but it won't be able to eat it. So this is also a way to save on bait. And the fish can sense it. They come to the spot, but they don't eat too much.
Let's imagine a situation where we arrive at the fishing spot and we have, well, what if there's no protection for the knives? Of course, we fish normally. But coming back with such an auger would be dangerous. God forbid you might fall and cut your face or legs and your shoes. You could cut yourself and you would really regret it, or your suit. But the main thing is always protect yourself while fishing. Let's imagine a situation where we found a bottle under a tree. Make sure to clean up after yourself here. And we do it in it. A cut along it. Each auger has a different diameter. There are ones for 100, 120, 130, and even 200 for drilling a whole hole. Well, we cut our bottle like this and carefully. We thread it through. As we can see, the bottle is too big for our auger. But we have a backup option. We put a 0.5 liter bottle on our knives. Carefully. It fits a bit loosely. Carefully and put it on. And I think this will be enough to get us home without getting hurt. Sergei always reminds us before every fishing trip to Kolyan Ivanovich not to forget to wear this kind of protection, because we've already cut our shoes more than once. And sometimes it happened that we would accidentally cut a bit from the suit, We arrived to set up the tip-ups for the night, drilled a hole, and cleared all the slush from the hole. We take the tip-up, we lower it down, measure the depth, everything as it should be. Well, now we come in the morning and we have this situation.
What's called, we set up the tip-ups for the night. Yes. The main thing, as they say, is not to cut the line. Yes.
It's frozen really well. But if we want to avoid such difficulties here, we take sunflower oil, remove the tip-up, and we do it. A couple of drops right here. But now we simply create a film on top of the water that will prevent the water below from freezing. The same life hack can be simply used when you are fishing with a rod so that the slush that sticks to your line. It didn't hit the ice, and you didn't have any false bites.
My subscribers told me this method, for which I thank you very much. I always tell you guys, write in the comments your life hacks and DIY tips. So Anatoly from Siberia sent me this method. He said, Seryoga, to keep the tip-ups from freezing overnight, I just take a regular newspaper, and I lay it over the hole. Where I set the tip-up, placed it over the hole. In this way, the newspaper freezes and gets rough, but the frost doesn't penetrate down to the water so much, and the upper film doesn't freeze. This is such a wonderful method, for which I thank him. We clean the hole well, put a tip-up there, and cover the attack with newspapers here. So we start the tip-up, insert it, and put it on top. Just like that. So he says nothing freezes, guys, and everything's great. We can cover the newspaper a bit like this, if we want, with ice. So, that's a simple, straightforward way to keep the holes from freezing. I think this method works too. Right, Diamond? So it will come in handy for you while fishing. Well, friends, here are the DIY projects we came up with along with the life hack. I hope you liked it. Yes, and first of all, we want to tell you, friends, that ice is always... It's dangerous, so make sure to follow safety precautions in one of your videos as well as in the selection of DIY projects. Up top, you can now see a hint. I made these rescue devices. Diamond, show them up close. These are rescue devices that could one day save your life on the ice. What are they for? When you fall through the ice, you practically have no chance of getting out. The only thing you have is your hands, your physical abilities, and these things with which you can grab onto the ice and just pull yourself out. I recommend you either make them or buy them. It's very simple to make. 2 nails and sticks. Basically, that's it. This is how they fold up, and this thing will really help you.
God forbid you find yourself in such a situation. The most important thing is to support yourself mentally and don't panic. And always read all these rules. And you will definitely save yourself.
Guys, one more piece of advice. If you don't have any rescue tools or you forgot something, take it with you. If you have such a thing as a multi-tool, take the multi-tool with you in your pocket, carry it always. In case of an emergency, you'll always be able to pull out, I don't know, a knife, any kind of saw. Just take the multi-tool and stab it into the ice and somehow pull yourself out. This is also a really good thing because when people fall through, they manage to get out and they tear their nails off because they grab onto the ice as best they can. Friends, we hope this never happens to you and everything will be fine. So, we're waiting for your comments. Your DIY projects, your life hacks, we will definitely show them in the next selection of winter DIY projects because this is just the beginning. We're going to make a lot of interesting videos with DIY projects this winter. I wish you all good luck, tight lines, and may you always have a good catch. Let's go fishing, Diamond.